Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 127 of the Save Slot 3 Gamescast. I'm your host, EWF Gizmo, joined this week by Massive Das.
Hello, everyone.
And CW Lanky.
Hey, Dave.
Boys, it's been another week. Lots has actually happened, which is quite fun. Sometimes we get to these and nothing has happened, but stuff has happened. So, when stuff happens, you know what that means? We go to the Penguins news desk. Time for some news.
There's 10 items of news now.
I bet it's a dozen.
Yes. Number 1, Dave. Metal Gear Solid Volume 2 Collection is happening. We don't know when it's happening or what games it's going to be on there, but Konami said it's happening. What game needs to be on there, Dave?
So we need to have 4.
That's the one, yeah.
We need to have Peace Walker. And then a Rogue One, I think we need to have Portable Ops.
Yeah.
I like Portable Ops.
You could have Ghost Babel. That wasn't on the previous.
Ghost Babel would be fun. I think Acid won't be, but that could also be fun. And same with Rising. Rising could be fun. So you could play it on consoles that aren't the Xbox. I'm assuming you're excited for this, Chris McGalley?
Yeah, kind of. It'd be good if Metal Gear Solid 4 finally leaves like the shackles of the PS3 after all this time. I've seen some people saying, "Oh, it needs to obviously have like 5 in it," which seems a little bit silly to me because obviously the PS4, the PS5 and the Series X like backwards compatible. So you can just play the PS4 versions of them, and they've not like remastered the games. It's just been in the collection, so I don't really see the point of having 5 in there. Maybe like for the Switch, because Volume 1 was on this Switch. That's the only reason I could really see why you would have 5. But 4 would be the big one. I guess this is no interest for you, Craigie, at all.
No, it's moments like this where I'm glad that I've got the football on in the background because,
Yeah.
No, my 20 minutes of Metal Gear, whatever it was more than enough of a lifetime for me. I'm good now.
Aye, but if
You guys have your fun.
If you got to finally play 4, you have a 90-minute cutscene. What else do you need? That's the same length of a football match.
Yeah, you enjoy that, Pengi. Enjoy that.
Well, it depends what football match you're watching, if it's more or less enjoyable, that 90-minute cutscene. Second one on the news, and I guess maybe the biggest news of the week, the PlayStation 5 Pro has finally been announced. And it is coming 7th of November this year. And it's yours, Craig, for the low price of £699. And it comes with a 2TB SSD, and 50 games will be supported at launch. 13 of them have been confirmed. It doesn't come with a vertical stand, and it doesn't have a disk drive, which you can then buy separately. So Craig, your thoughts first, I guess.
I didn't watch the presentation thing. It's not really for me, is it? It was I get by the sound of it, it was quite a low effort thing, but then it's they know the audience that this is for, don't they? They know that this is for the money pigs. This is for the hardcores, right? This is for the people that bought PlayStation VR 2 and bought Concord, and they want their Sony stuff, and that's fair enough. I didn't watch it, but I mean, it sounds like there's probably more in the blog post than there was in the show anyway, which is
so
strange,
in the blog
isn't it?
post, we got info on like upgraded GPU, which has 67% more compute units than a PS5 and a 28% faster memory. That's the numbers for you. But does have advanced ray tracing and an AI-driven upscaling called PSSR.
Yes, sir. I mean, they did show by the looks of it some like side by sides, and they look better, right? But then you would want them to for that much money. But then I guess it's that thing, isn't it? It's like, how long's a piece of string? Do you spend £800 on this, or you spend a bit more, you could get a PC and it would look even better. But then you could spend a bit more again, you could get a better PC and it would look even better. It's like it's endless.
So on the side by side, only CNET have seemingly had hands on, and their preview was, I wouldn't say mixed. So they were very positive from Gran Turismo 7 because they had it running in 8K on an 8K screen. That I guess is impressive for a games console, or 4K 60 frames, full ray tracing in the game. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, they said that looked surprisingly better, like full 60 frames, and obviously like graphically. But then they said like Spider-Man 2 is like they had to go back and look at like the PS5 version and then like walk back over the PS5 Pro and go, oh yeah, it is better. So I think it is a case by. You think PlayStation's first party game would look better than Final Fantasy, I think, but I think it will be case by case on what games look better and which games don't, and how much better they do look.
I mean, within 2 hours of this thing being out, Digital Foundry will have 20 videos on there, so all the side by
they've
side
already got video. They saying it's equivalent to the 4070 in the PC, which is like 500 quid on its own, just the graphics card. So yeah, so like the PC route is thing, but yes. Davo, what's your thoughts?
I've got so many. So the presentation was awful. Like I don't know what they were thinking this was a good idea.
It was better than the last one, wasn't it?
I mean, I guess so, but I think it's worse because they've done it badly before. Like it just didn't it didn't sell anyone on it, and it just didn't give you the whole information. So that, from that perspective, very poor. I didn't get time to go back and watch our podcast from 2016, Chris, because I wanted to. I just didn't have a chance to see what we said about the PS4 Pro. But I feel like my stance is the same. I just don't really understand who this is for. It's just like, cool. So let's use the Craig example of the PlayStation Piggy that has to have the highest graphics. Right, there's not that many of those people around. For the average consumer, I don't see the point. Like it's 30 frames for better for 60. Like if you really care that much about graphics, buy a PC. I think is basically what my attitude is. So yeah, it's one of those. Like it doesn't hurt me because it's not for me. It's just one of those. It's just they're going to put it out and people are going to be like, oh yeah, well it's PS5 Pro. As long as it doesn't make other games worse, which I can't imagine it will. Like I can't imagine they're going to be like, well, we're going to not release. Like we're going to purposefully make sure that only the PS5 Pro has the 60 frames to try and sell more people on that. Then it's fine. But isn't the PS6 is going to be around in like 2 years, right? So it's like, yeah, just pointless, really, Craig. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're releasing it without a stand. Like, come on, especially a premium product. Like, it's a $30 stand. Just include the fucking stand. I get the digital thing because most gamers are digital anyway. Fine, whatever. Buy a disk drive, but yeah, just seems a bit overpriced for what it is. The whole point of a console is that it's cheaper and easier. And the PC examples are silly anyway because you don't just play games on your PC. Your PC can do anything, can't it? So like, if you could do your taxes on a PlayStation, then maybe it would be worth it, Craigie. But yeah, I personally wasn't impressed. Don't really see the point. I've never really seen the point of these sort of mid refreshes anyway. But yeah,
I think the Pro and the Series, I was going to say Series X, the One X, I think made slightly more points because obviously 4K TV adoption started.
They were timed to perfection, weren't they?
And significantly cheaper. The main consoles were cheaper because that's the other thing is they've obviously put the price up of the PS5 since launch. So like, yeah, it's if the PS5 was £350 and this was 700, you could be like, oh, well, at least it's like, But usually, the mid way through it gets cheaper, but it just isn't. It's a lot of money in this economy for a video game to look very slightly better.
What do you reckon this means for next gen? Because a lot of informed people seem to be saying that next gen is going to be around this sort of price, if not more.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it does seem to be the thing, doesn't it? Because these consoles have not gone down at all. In fact, they've gone up, if anything.
Mhm.
So
And I've
yeah,
seen
it does seem to be where we're
people
heading.
now on about like there's like the Switch 2 and like the price of tech, be it like the PlayStation 5 and other tech like stuff, and they're like, oh, that's going to be like 400 plus, and like, you know, people are like, oh, that's going to be ridiculous as well and stuff. But if it's like a PS4 powered portable or something, I don't know. This, yeah, it is a thing. How much, you know, tech doesn't seem to be coming down.
I don't think you're going to see a new released piece of tech from any of the big three for under $399 now, unless it's specifically built for it, like the Series S. Like the Series S is specifically built to be budget, and you get the good and the bad with that, so that's why it's so cheap. But like, I think even the Switch 2, I think if people think it's going to be less than $399, I think they're in for a shock. Because it's like you said, the cost of tech is so expensive, the cost of the chips, the cost of the screen, all that stuff. But yeah, for Craig's point, I mean, I think the PS, I think to be honest, I think when people are kicking off at people like Kind of Funny saying they're like out of touch because they reacted like, well, I just won't buy it. I think what people are saying is like, it's the implication. It's the implication that the PS6 and the Xbox Series X2 is gonna be £700 at launch, and the average person doesn't get given that for free. And then let alone the fact that video games this gen have gone up in price. Like, let's not forget that at the start of this gen, games weren't £70. Now they're £70. So you've got to pay £700.
There was rumours, I don't know if it's true, that like GTA might even be more than 70 at launch.
Yeah.
And if anyone can do it, it's them.
And as soon as one person does it, another company will do it. But like, if you think like you're already paying more for games, more for controllers, and more for the actual consoles. So it's like, okay. Whereas I think this is I mean, I'd love to know a stat. Like, this must be the closest parity that PCs and console gaming have ever been. Like, it's so close to each other. But then you also, for console, you're having to buy subscription models. You're having to, again, pay for your games and all this. It's like, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it would have made more sense for Xbox because of Game Pass, because the argument can be like, oh, well, you're not spending £70 on the game, so in the long run, you're saving like hundreds of pounds, even though the console's expensive. But yeah, I reckon next gen will be like gross. I reckon we'll be doing this podcast and we'll be like, oof, Chris is buying one, but the rest of us are gonna have to wait for at least a year to save up. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit more palatable when it's a new gen, isn't it? Because it's like the excitement, and there's always like the launch games, and it's all new. Whereas this is like, oh, okay, it just looks a bit better than what we've got now, so it feels a bit more on the nose, I guess.
Yeah,
but I do think if they are both that expensive, it does then become, I feel like, even maybe for the hardcores like us, it's like, oh well, you're one or the other. You're not, all three like a lot of people are now.
Yeah, and the point on that is as well, like, this gen has been one of the worst gens for exclusive generation games, because in reality, even so, like Black Ops 6 is coming out in a month. That's also on PS4 and Xbox One. Like, it's
I feel like that thinking's just gone now, Dave. I'll be honest with you. I don't think because I don't think that's going to go away. Like next gen will do.
But that's the point. Is like, are you going to sit are you going to sit there and go, oh, I'm going to spend £750 on the
Xbox Series
Series X2, when in reality my Series X runs everything at 1080p 60, and I'm happy with that because I haven't got a £1,500.
I think that's what Dave's trying. Yeah.
I haven't got a £1,500 TV, so it doesn't matter. Like, I just think the console space for those things are going to get smaller. I think that's why everyone's scrambling to make handhelds all of a sudden. Like, we didn't have handheld consoles for years. The Switch has come out, and now every single PC manufacturer has made a handheld. Like, the big two other ones want to make a handheld as well. So I think that's where I think they're going to go. Try and get to this like weird mobile market because people will buy it. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, any of us going to get the PS5 Pro? I'm obviously not.
I think so, personally. I think it's I don't think there's any way I can justify that much money for like a kind of smaller increase like that.
Yeah. Are you all in, Pengi?
Not at launch, no. So my problems are, if it was £700 with the disc drive, then maybe, but then having to spend another £99 and 99p on the disc drive, making it 800 is kind of ridiculous. And also, it's okay. It's good that it says there's these 50 games going to be available at launch, and we know 13 of them. And like, out of the 13 is I don't know. I don't know what is the 13 again. Assassin's Creed Shadows, and okay, that comes out in November. The Pro comes out November. It's like, so, but I want to know what the improvements are to these games and stuff like that. Like, no, sort of things like, oh, Assassin's Creed Shadows. Okay, the only improvement is there's some ray tracing. Okay, that's not a huge thing, but I know Gamescom, for instance, people were a bit iffy on Monster Hunter's frame rate and stuff. And then again, it's only a development thing. That game's not coming out to early next year. But if like that game's like, okay, on the Pro, it's 4K 60 frames a second or something. That game is a big enough game to tempt me, sort of thing. But it's just like it needs like a couple. It needs like 5 or 6 games with a decent improvement. And like take Monster Hunter for instance, like if that gets a special edition console, like we had a special edition PS4 Pro for it, that's the sort of thing that get me. So a bog standard white one with the list of games we have now coming to like 800 quid, no. If there's like a Monster Hunter special edition or something, then that's a possibility. Basically, it's all rise on Monster Hunter, really. From what we know at the moment, because we like, you know, there's rumors of a state of play, and if Sony goes to Tsushima 2, and obviously on the Pro is going to be whatever, who knows.
I feel like this happens every gen with you, Pengi.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every gen we end up sat here going, yeah, I need 10 games, and then we'll get closer to it. All right, I need 3 games, boys. You know what I mean? I feel like as he was talking, then I zoned out for a second, and then like the deja vu just came like flooding into me, and I was like, God, we've been here before, haven't we? Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I think for Chris, it's as much as he doesn't want to admit it, it's what happens with Switch. So if the Switch 2 gets announced before the pre-order date of the PS5 Pro, and it's like exciting for Chris, then I think he might hold off on the PS5 Pro. But I mean, we both reckon he's going to get it. So
of course he is. He's doing the Penguins thing. He's got to come up with his list of games to justify.
Yeah.
You're going to use this every single day.
See,
Pengi. You're
this is
so
also
much
the
use
other
out
thing.
of this.
See,
You
this
could
is the
sell
other
some
thing.
crap. So you've got God knows how much. Yeah,
talking to a chap in like the chap in work about it and stuff like that. Like the rumor was the PS6 is going to be 2027 from the FTC. Court stuff, and next Xbox 2026. So if I had 3 years, of PS5 is my main console, then that's also like what you're saying. You get a lot of use. You use it every day, pretty much. But even I think 800 quid is ridiculous. Like I've been looking at new TVs, and like I can get a new TV for like not much more, and I've still not like done that yet, and that would make more sense because 120 frames OLED and stuff. There's actually more gains there and stuff like that.
Indeed,
I haven't done that,
but we'll talk about this more when Chris buys it in November.
Yeah.
So next news story, my dear Chris.
Talking to the PS5 disc drive, it's completely sold out, and it's now selling for ridiculous money on eBay.
So funny. They haven't even confirmed that it's the same thing, right? Because isn't the shell a different size than the PS?
No, they say it's on the blog post. It's the same disc drive.
Okay. Oh, no, I mean the shell that you have to put on the outside, because that's surely different, right?
See, that's what I don't get, because it's using the same disc drive, so it's using obviously the same casing of the disc drive, but it says like faceplates will be available later.
Yeah, because it's way bigger than the Slim.
Yeah, but then it's got the three Adidas lines in the middle.
Yeah.
So if you added those onto the Slim, would then it be this? Yeah. So weird. So it's definitely that disc drive and stuff like. I think the top covers maybe are bigger than the. I think the bottom covers might be the same size as the Slim. The top ones are bigger.
So confusing for a normal consumer, though, isn't it? Like.
Yeah, this is the thing. I think you're saying it's confusing. I don't think this obviously is targeted to normal.
No, I guess not. I guess so.
Not. The one thing I think like chapping worker is like, they'll do the Monster Hunter Special Edition. It'd be digital only. I want a disc drive and then I'll have a white disc drive on like a red console or something and look really stupid.
Yeah.
See, in my head, it was just a disc drive that you plug in and it sat like to the side of your console. I didn't realize you had to.
It's got its own PCI slot, and then like you take off the flat shell, and then there's obviously a disc-shaped shell that goes on top of the actual disc drive. Like I said, it's a PC, Craig. That's what it's become. That's where we're at this point.
Yeah, but they're sold out, and the people are already trying to. So I don't know if it's sold out because people actually want them, or people who just gone out. We just buy them all, and then people that do want them now have to pay silly money. I'm hoping, obviously, nearer the time, PlayStation have more of them for people that do want them.
Indeed.
Keeping on PlayStation, we've got new Plus games for September. So extras, getting the Plucky Squire, which we knew about. Under the Waves, Night in the Woods, Chernobyl Bright, Wildcard Football, Space Engineers, Road 96, Ben 10, and Far Cry 5. Any of the extra games that interest you? I guess Plucky Squire, obviously, talked about that one before. Both of you going to be playing that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one, isn't it?
So what about any of the others? Under the Waves, remember I did play on Xbox, which is okay.
Yeah, nothing for me on extra.
No. I can see Craig I can see Craig you liking Under the Waves though.
I don't know what it is, honestly. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, that's like the anyone think. But on Premium, you've got Pistol Whip for PSVR 2, then you've got Secret Agent Clank, Sky Gunner, and Mr. Mosquito. Dave, Mr. Mosquito, I guess you'll be playing it day one.
Sky Gunner, and Mr. Mosquito, I've definitely played. Mr. Mosquito, Craigo, is a game you need to watch a YouTube trailer of. Because
I've seen it. I know exactly what it is.
It's amazing. It used to be an N64 game called Buck Bumble, which was somewhat similar, but yeah, crazy. It's again, I couldn't believe that it was in Astrobot. I know we're going to talk about Astrobot later, but yeah, when I saw Mr. Mosquito was in Astrobot, I did giggle. Yeah, both of these games. I don't think Sky Gunners ever came to Europe.
No, it didn't.
Which is because it was absolutely the type of game I would have played when I was younger. So I'm actually really excited to play that. But yeah, I'm quite excited to play them both, especially on the Portal. I would avoid Secret Agent Clank if people can, because it is the worst Ratchet game. But again, if you want easy platinum, go nuts. What about you, Pengi?
Yeah, the Sky Gunner one's really interesting. It's like an Atlas, anime plane sort of game and stuff like that. Like we never obviously got in Europe, so that's like really cool to check out. And it's weird, like obviously we had John Dark not that long ago, which was also an Atlas, I think, game, but like Sony published or something. So it's cool that we're seeing like these weird like games coming back, and it's really interesting because you don't really see them, thing. Like Sly was great having Sly, but we've had the PS3 remasters and stuff like that, like where these are really obscure games, especially Mr. Mosquito. I do feel like have we got Mr. Mosquito because of like Astro Bot, and it's like, are we going to get some other weird PlayStation games and stuff? Like, are we going to get Mad Maestro because that's a nice Astro Bot, for instance, next month?
PlayStation published, so I think it's just games that are never going to get remakes. Mm-hmm. Like they're never going to remake Mr. Mosquito, so why not put the port out and make some money, right? But like we've talked about before, I think the PlayStation Classics part of PS Plus has been for me the biggest highlight over the last 6 to 12 months, because they've really upped the amount of content, and they're just games that people don't make anymore. So it's quite fun playing random ass PSP and PS2 games like a couple times a month, especially now we've got the Portal as well. Like I think for me it's worth it now. If you're going to buy the extra, you might as well just pump up the extra tenner and get the premium to play some really good PS2 games. Like I said, I really enjoyed Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which I never would have replayed. You know what I mean? So to replay it with trophies and rewind and all that, and just play like a fucking dopey ass movie game. Like I'm still praying we get the Lord of the Rings movie games at some point. But I think it's pretty cool. Is you any interest in stepping it up to play some of these random ass games, Craigo?
Maybe, I don't know. There's always so much coming out, though. That's always the problem.
There is.
But I think my year's plus does run out soon. So I don't know. We'll see. Because I bought bought a whole year because it was cheaper last time round.
Yeah,
So I would probably do the same again.
I think what they do, because I think you do what I do, is it gets to like a Black Friday sale or whatever, and then it goes to 50 quid for the year. Then you buy it, and then by the time it runs out, it's the same fucking sale just a year later.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'll do it again.
Yes. So that's that. Next news. Annapurna Interactive. All the staff has resigned. All 25 have resigned. All 25 members of Annapurna Interactive has collectively resigned. Over like trying to go like independent, and the owner didn't want them to go, and I think they've actually started like advertising the jobs. So if you want to go work for Annapurna, I think you can now. Remedy's also spoke out from this news article. The deal for Alan Wake and Control's movies done through Annapurna Pictures, and they're self-publishing Control too, so that doesn't make any difference. So a very weird one, all this. What's your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, it's a bit messy. It's very messy. Obviously, we joked in the chat about, I hate Annapurna, so it's fine, but we don't want people to have to resign because they can't get on with their owners. But I'd imagine those 24 employees have got a plan, or 25 employees have got a plan. I feel like they're not going to just quit and leave their roles, especially in the US with stuff the way that it's tied to like health insurance. So I would imagine they'll either go to the negotiating table to come back, or they will set up Nanapurna, which is just basically the same studio with the same staff, but they are independent, which they can do. I don't believe there's a law stopping that. So I would imagine the latter is what they're going to do, because it seems like the owner's just like, fuck you, I'm going to advertise. And there's a lot of people looking for games jobs at the minute, Chris, as we'll talk a bit more about later. So I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, because they said they're still going to like honour all the contracts they're doing, and I guess if like, because they're a publisher, even though they did, when their last showcase announced they're working on the Blade Runner games, I don't know what's happening with that, because you think that's more than 25 people doing the Blade Runner game, and this is the publishing thing of Interactive. So I think, it's a weird one, like, how quickly will they get new people that want jobs? Like you said, there's a lot of people out of work, so interesting one. What's your thoughts, Craigie?
Yeah, it sounds like it's like the daughter of the person that started the company or something, right? Has taken over, so and that's where it's all kind of gone wrong by the sound of it.
Good old nepotism.
But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, isn't it? Because I know we don't all like all of Annapurna's games, like Open Roads, but they do publish some really good stuff. In fairness to them, Lemon and Devolver are kind of like the big like two indie devs, indie publishers now, aren't they? So hopefully, they can still. Hopefully, people can. The best case scenario is they've managed to replace these people, and Annapurna continues to make good games, and then these people manage to find something else, or like Dave said, if they've already got a plan, and they can publish more good stuff, right? That's hopefully the best case scenario.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like the Annapurna could get these 25 new people, and they could all start now like wanting to publish like Quiz This Brazil or something, and things like that, instead of like Edith Finch or whatever Annapurna is published. I don't think they actually published that as the first indie that came to my mind, but you know what I'm saying.
Got a lot of connections, haven't they? Because Annapurna games typically will release either exclusively to one console or be on one console's service. So that's kind of what they tend to do, right? They would either launch from PlayStation on Plus, or on Game Pass for Xbox, and then that kind of gets their publicity, I guess, and that pumps up their sales and on the other consoles. So they've obviously got like big connections to the big companies. So it might hurt them if they've lost all these people with kind of these relationships that they have.
Yes. And where they could find some new staff is from Xbox or Activision Blizzard, I think, actually, more importantly, because they've laid off another 650 jobs, mostly corporate and supporting functions. Apparently, is gone. That also brings it up to, I think it's 2,550 employees Microsoft has laid off this year. Dave, thoughts?
Well, just more bad PR in it. Like, it's one of those that, you know, to let 2,000 people go after a $68 billion merger tells you a couple of things. It tells you that either the previous was incredibly mismanaged and had too many people, a la like Twitter, if you remember, or it's, you know, they just want to recoup some money. So it's not good that people are losing their jobs. They've said it doesn't affect games or whatever. To me, it's just more bad PR for Xbox. Just as you think they're gonna get, you know, they've had a really good COD beta, and, you know, PlayStation have made a little bit of a mistake with the price stuff. Maybe Xbox will stay out of the limelight for a month and not upset anyone. But no, we gotta go in there and cut them now, Craig. We got to cut them now. So yeah, it's at this point it's standard, right? You hope everyone lands on their feet and finds a job. But like you said, 25 roles at Annapurna, maybe get applying. But yeah, it's the games industry in 2024 in the West, sadly.
Yes, Craigie.
Yeah, no, it pretty much is that, isn't it? It's you know, it is where the industry is at the moment. This won't be the last time, I'm sure. We're reading out a number from a corporation getting rid of people. It just seems to be the way it's going, right?
I guess not yet. Maybe they should have some laws like Japan about like getting rid of people and stuff. But, you know, that may be too sensible. Next news. Tony Hawk's has confirmed he's working with Activision on something exciting for the 25th anniversary of Tony Hawk's. What do you want it to be, Craig? What do you want for Tony Hawk's 25th anniversary?
I mean, for one, they could put the fucking 2 remakes that they did on Game Pass. That'd be great, right?
That would be a
Is
move.
it not on there?
No, it was on PS Plus at some point, because I have it on PS Plus, which is funny.
That would be great. They should definitely do that.
Yeah. Really good, that remake as well. The 1+2 remake. Really good.
Definitely looks really good. I'd be keen to play it if it ever does make it to Game Pass. But yeah, I don't know what else. I don't know what else it could really be, in honestly. Because isn't this the studio that made that remake has kind of been eaten into Blizzard now, I believe. So
yeah. Was it one of the Crash Bandicoot ones that did it? Pengi, was it like Beanox or Toys for Bob or something?
I don't think it was Toys for Bob.
It was. I can't remember what it was called now, but it was. Yeah, I'm sure they were eaten up.
Was it Vicarious Visions?
Yeah, that's
He
it.
did the first Crash remakes. Yeah. Yeah, I knew it was one. Well, I want Fug or 3 and 4 remakes at this point, Craig.
That's what I was going to say. 3.4, 3 and plus 4 remake.
Yeah,
surely. I don't really know what else they do unless there's just a new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 6 or something. I guess.
It's difficult because, again, like in theory, it should be quite a small budget, like relatively easy game to make, but everyone seems to want to make everything. The people aren't making games unless they're making silly money at the moment, so it's kind of like, I see. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do. Hopefully, it's not a re-release of one.
Like,
again.
Unless it's like Tony Hawk's 25th anniversary or something, it's called that, and it's got like the best 25 skate parts of Tony Hawk's history, really cool. And and it's got like, I don't know, the best 25 skaters or something, and it's got Spider-Man in it again and Darth Maul. I don't know.
Yeah, a compilation game would actually be quite clever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like a compilation or something.
It's a weird thing that I was just thinking about this now. Like, it's a weird thing to think that like all those games now are basically just aimed at like boomers like us now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, millennials.
Because if you
are the target audience for Jackass.
You think about like how old we were when we were playing Tony Hawk's. If you were to go to like those 13-year-olds now, be like, there's gonna be a new Tony Hawk's game coming. They'd be like, what the fuck are you on about? Like, who the fuck's Tony Hawk? Like, it's weird to think about. Slaying on Fortnite like non-stop. They couldn't care less, could they? But
no.
The idea of Tony Hawk.
I think, to be honest with you, this is a deeper discussion for another day. I think a lot of stuff like that is the reason I think that people look at like the PlayStation and Xbox stuff, and games aren't selling, because I think people are forgetting that like kids don't care unless it's free to play and it's popular. It's not like it wasn't like that when we were kids. Like we used to walk into a shop and buy any old crap because you didn't know any better. But like, and you were essentially a nerd, right? You were the niche audience. Whereas like, like my nephew's playing Fortnite. The only game he's buying every year is FIFA or EA FC, and at a push he might try COD because it's on Game Pass. Like, you know what I mean? Like the kids don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. If they're little kids, they'll play Animal Crossing and Mario Kart and stuff, right? But like, no one gives a fuck. No one gives to play Halo. What the fuck's Halo? Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
even like 3D platformers. Like, again, we would probably play them when we were kids. They don't want to play that shit now. They want to play fucking Fortnite. That's what they want to play.
Right, little kids will play Mario and Sonic, but no kids looking.
Even then, they're probably playing like Roblox, aren't they?
Right, like, no kids looking at fucking Astro Bot and being like, "Oh, that's for me."
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
It's just for old men.
It's just old men like us.
Yeah. Oh man. So that is that. What you could play for just 80p, Dave, is The Crew 2. And it's also getting an offline patch. Actually, Motorfest, I think, is also getting an offline patch.
And it's been heavily discounted, Motorfest, because it has done that badly. And Ubisoft, I mean, we could have done a whole thing about Ubisoft being in the mud, because they're in the mud at the moment.
Right in mud. But I think their stock is the lowest it's been for like 12 years, and they want to get rid of Yves Guillemot. So yeah.
You got to feel for Greg Miller buying those Ubisoft stocks a couple of years ago for a bit. he's gonna lose money on him. Yeah. The Crew 2 is great, and the Crew Motorfest. I think we all played the Crew Motorfest. I think we all liked it to a varying degrees.
Yeah.
It's
Have
fine.
You bought the Crew 2 for 80p, Dave?
So I actually already own the Crew 2 on Xbox, and I believe the Crew 2 on PlayStation is on PS Plus.
I believe it is. It's in the Ubisoft Classic section,
yes.
So it could leave. I guess I would think it's getting delisted soon, hence why it's 80p.
Yeah.
So when it gets delisted, you won't be able to play it through Plus. So.
No, I think I've got it on Xbox. So I've played it quite a bit already, and I don't think it's that doable a platinum without online modes. So yes, again, it's one of those. If you want to play that type of racing game, it's definitely got a Series X patch. I don't know if it's got a PlayStation 5 patch or not, but it's a pretty fun game, Craigie. Pretty fun game.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I already own the Crew 2 through like Gold or something like that. Maybe if not, I think I'm probably will pick it up just for 80p for the shits and giggles, right?
Yeah, it's good. It is worth it.
Might get played one, but I think I did try that Motorfest game when I had Ubisoft. I don't think I liked it that much. I feel like I just kind of played it and was like,
it's Horizon Light.
It's like Horizon, but nowhere near as good. So I think I kind of bounced off it quite quickly. But I feel like the older Crew games kind of had their own thing that they were trying to do, weren't they? Weren't they like trying to be like the whole of America?
It was like a smaller version of America, and you could like change your cars on the fly.
Boats and shit, right? So I feel like that. I feel like Crew 2 I'll probably pick up for 80p if I've not already got it somehow.
I think it's actually 79p on Xbox, but 80p on PlayStation. I think. Don't know why. I don't know why, but I don't know why the tax has done that. But there you go.
Yeah. Yes. So that is Ubisoft. Next is Marvel versus Capcom 2's physical for Switch. And it comes out in November. It's out now digitally. You can go play it right now if you want. But the Switch version of it, the physical, is going to be a code in the box.
But only in Europe.
Only in Europe. But it's on the disc on PS4, so on PS4 it is a proper physical. So.
Okay, it was a new story we put in for Pengi, because I know he likes the idea of these.
I don't like the idea of encoded bots.
No.
Silly. It's very, very silly. That's why I've not bought... Saying that, I've not actually seen that Black Myth Wukong physical, like even on Amazon, where it's supposed to release with coded bots. So I don't actually know what happened with that. Maybe they cancelled it or something. I'm actually waiting until proper physical happens. Who knows?
Yeah,
it is crazy that we're still doing that, isn't it? That hasn't died out yet.
Well, coded bots.
I kind of get it. Yeah, I kind of get it that you wanted something on the shelf like in the transition period. Now you do kind of just look at it and go, God, that's just a really silly idea now, isn't it?
On the Switch, it's always so Ubisoft has done it for all their games on the Switch for a long time, and they're just they're so cheap. So I think it's one of those like, if you're walking into a into a shop, physical shop, or you're sending a parent in, they will just buy the cheaper one, and they won't know any better. So there must be some sort of information that they sell, like they sell enough to justify. Because I always see the on the Switch is awful for it. The Switch is awful.
Yeah,
for
there's hundreds of those codes in the box games, and they're like
a lot of them work like that.
Mm-hmm.
The cheap code in the box ones.
Yeah, I can kind of see it. So I think you can get them for like a tenner and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, and especially Nintendo being like more child friendly, maybe like people with eShop lots. Maybe it's like, oh, I've got some pocket money. I can buy this game for a tenner, and you are getting a brand new like Super Lucky Tale. And the code in the box is tenner, but probably physical is like 25 quid.
Yeah,
So
and there was a lot of stuff like the Trivial Pursuit game and Monopoly and all that stuff. Risk.
Yeah. So I kind of get it for those really cheap ones, but Marvel vs. Capcom would be like 50 quid.
Yeah, it's a really strange flex. Again, just buy it digitally at that point, and you know what I mean. If Switch is a handheld anyway, so
yeah. And yeah, so there you go. And talking of Switch, so I'm gonna give you the last sales chart in Japan. The PS5, this is pre-price increase, I believe, sold combined of 33,000 units. Thing because they have the digital and the non-digital separate in Japan. Thing that's always been thing. But now we have the price increase. It is sold a whopping 12,000 between the two, so we have dropped about 20,000 units with a price increase. And the Switch just dominates still. So the OLED is on 7.8 million, the Lite is on 6 million, the bog standard on Switch is basically on 19.9 million units in Japan. Which is a crazy number.
Whereas the PlayStation 5 combined is 6 million. So for context, obviously Japan is a lot smaller than the other regions. But yeah, the Switch...
It's getting smaller as well.
Right, and then you've got the Xbox Series consoles on a combined 624,000, which for Xbox, I think makes it the second best selling Xbox set of consoles, because the Xbox One did like 100,000. It was terrible. But the 360 did a couple million, I think. The 360 sold quite relatively well. I think it was 1.6 million. I think it did in Japan.
Something like that. The PS4 is still the PS4 Pro isn't listed, so I don't. There must be stock, because sometimes you still do see like a 2DS or something pop on it. The PS4 sold 7.9 million, so the PS5 selling 5.9 isn't bad, because seeing the PS4 is how many years old now? 11 years old. And still selling 23 consoles this week.
I just love the level of detail. That's 23 people like, oh, the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's what you sometimes, like I said, you sometimes see like the 2DS or something pop up on the internet, sold like 6 units or something. Yeah, so I don't. The PS5 is a hard one, because yes, it's getting trounced by the Switch, but everything is. But I think if you compare the PS5 to PS4. But yeah, now it's got that price increase and stuff. I just definitely can see it slowing up. But then Dragon Quest 12, and that will that be on Switch too? You gotta think it will. Well,
it's that and Monster Hunter, I think, is the telling sign. So if
Monster Hunter Worlds will sell a shit ton of PS5.
Yeah, so if the Switch 2 is capable of running Monster Hunter Wilds, or again PlayStation release a handheld, then I think that will be the dominating thing. Because the thing about Japan, generally speaking, again, like we have friends that listen to this that live in Japan. At least 2 people I know that live in Japan. So tell us if that we're right in this assumption, is that their apartments are so much smaller that we joke, but a PS5 is literally too big for Japan. So they'll take the handheld one. It's a very metropolitan lifestyle in like Tokyo and Kyoto, where you just basically are constantly on the move. So hence why the Vita, the PSP, the 3DS, all that's always done really well, and like the Switch is obviously dominating like a ridiculous number. So that's a really interesting. I think the Switch 2 will answer a lot of questions for where it goes in Japan, because I think it's on a bit of a. It seems to be on a bit of a tipping point where it's either going to go fully Nintendo, because Nintendo is the most profitable Japanese company by quite some way, I believe, Chris. I think there was a thing not long ago. So it's like, if they continue to do well and PlayStation continues to make very Western-centric decisions, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, Xbox will never, ever do anything in Japan.
No. That's why I was saying Monster Hunter Wilds will shift a load of... I think Monster Hunter Wilds mostly will come to Switch too. I can see, Wilds being like February, when I need the PS5 out, and then come November when the Switch 2. It could even like a launch title for the Switch 2, but and Dragon Quest, because they famously even have days off for Dragon Quest. That's like if Dragon Quest gets announced, some people are having a day off, or it's like a national holiday in Japan. So yeah,
it's weird to think that like so much of what PlayStation make first party now is very Western games, isn't it?
Yeah, they've only had like one Japanese. No, they have two Japanese teams that I can think of. Team Asobi and Prolifically Digital. That's the only two in it.
Yeah, so the most successful Japanese PlayStation stuff has always been Gran Turismo. But yeah, so Sony's kind of never really been that Japanese focused. It's kind of like Sega used to be. Like, they're very Europe and North America. Like it's weird because we've had this discussion before about like the 360 versus the PS3. It's like, I think the PS3 did the like 7 million, I think, in Japan, but it's like it's nothing compared to the like 25-30 that it does in America. So like that's where they always put all their focus. Whereas Nintendo, it's very even. So like Nintendo's, like the Switch has sold, let's do some quick math, it 33 million here.
I think it was 34 in Japan. In total,
right, so then it's done, but then it's done over 100 million in the rest of the world. But it's like, which is crazy again. Like the Switch is, as much as I know you two don't like it, the movie, like the sales of the Switch is mental. But yeah, I think you are right. I don't know why Sony are so Western based, other than the fact that that's where I guess they make all their money.
Yeah. I think they really did capitalise on Europe and Sega and being dominant, and just took Sega's position, and obviously Europe being, as big as it is.
Right, we love cars and football, and that's what they did with the PS2.
Basically. Yeah. That is it. So that is news with me.
Pengi's news. Well, thank you, Pengi, for some excellent news. And now we're going to get on to our topic of the show. So, we're all going to talk about Astrobot at some point, probably after this. But I posed the boys a question, and that question was, Astrobot is a celebration of the PlayStation IP. The IP that they allegedly don't have, Chris, as well, as we got to say. Does it make you want to play more games? And we kind of all went, yeah. So I tasked the boys with coming with a little list of PlayStation games that they want to play now that they've played Astrobot, and it's kind of just in their mind, like, oh, you know what, I want to go back and play that game because I saw an Astrobot in Astrobot. So, Pengi, I'll let you go first as Mr. PlayStation.
Are we just going to go round, or we want me to put all 5 in one go?
Do you want to go round in a circle, Craigo?
Yeah, go round.
Let's go Chris, Craig, Dave.
We don't have to talk massively long about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I've got mine in, I was going to say alphabetical order, but I actually haven't. So the first one, mainly because of the Twitter spat and the beef and stuff, and you keep telling us it's very good, Dave, and how you hate zombies, but it's still really good. And I found this game 7 times. It's Days Gone.
It is a great game. Days Gone's funny because, like I said, I've said this on the show, I don't like those type of games, and I finished it, played it all the way through, thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't understand why it wasn't. To me, it's exactly the same as all the other PlayStation games they make. I really don't get why this one wasn't the sucked off media darling that The Last of Us, or you know what I mean? It's because it's really similar. It's got it's got an actor in the main role. It's got you got your friend who's got issues, and there's I don't really get it. But a good choice, and you should play it because it's actually a very good game.
And they got a PS4 patch where it's 60 frames and stuff. Maybe it'll be one of the PS 4 boosted games with the PS5 Pro. I don't know how you can really boost it much more because it's already 60 frames and stuff. I don't know.
But, a lot of content in that game as well. By the way, a lot of free content. They didn't do any paid DLC. It was all free. Any interest to play Days Gone, Craigo?
Oh God, maybe one day. The guy making him an ass of himself on Twitter is hilarious.
Yeah, he's left the company, so don't worry, he's not there anymore. He's not a bend anymore.
Yeah, it's very much just like, well, why are you upset? What are you on about?
Yeah.
Craigo, your number one game.
So I started. I just a little bit shenanigan, but I did make a comment on in our group chat of every time I've got a cat based bot, I'm like, oh, that's the Stray cat. I still haven't played Stray, boys, and with this Annapurna stuff going on.
You still not playing Stray?
No, I still haven't. Yeah, with this Annapurna stuff going on, you kind of like, oh, I should probably should play Stray, right?
Is that still on PS Plus or is that on
Game Pass? I feel like the reason I've probably not played it is I don't think it's on either system in terms of their subscription service.
I think it left Plus, and that's when then it came to like Xbox, and it's coming to Switch.
Yeah, it looks terrible on Switch. Don't play it on Switch.
Yeah, no. Although looking now, it's £25.
Yeah,
Christ.
There is a physical on PS5, Crazy. You could buy that, do a classic Penguins, buy it, play it, trade it in.
So yeah, maybe Stray one day. Yeah, I was not expecting to see £25 there. To be honest with you.
I mean, no comment on Annapurna games. I think they're all quite expensive. Because I think you mostly play them in a service, don't you? Really?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think it was on the service when I got my PlayStation. I think it.
No, I think you've been pretty thorough. I'm sure that you'll say in your list about the PS Plus stuff you still yet to play is pretty good for Craig.
Oh yeah, you can get $19.99. You can get physical form. There is an Xbox physical as well.
Oh, they did release it. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
There you go. Do it on Xbox. Fuck it. Fuck the whole point of this conversation.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because I said I'll probably play on Xbox instead of PlayStation, just to But yeah, maybe I will.
I just
support the devs.
I don't know if it is a good handheld game or not. It's pretty short. It's like 2 or 3 hours, though. But it's not like
It's got that one tricky trophy for the platinum.
Yeah.
So maybe you got the port. Might as well use it, Craig.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking it's not like Plucky Square Upcoming looks like, because of the art style look and stuff, like looks like a portable sort of game. But like Stray doesn't, does it? Really? I don't know.
Nice. Well, my first one, I'm actually going a little bit older because I'm obviously an old man. A game that I missed as a child because I just didn't know it existed. And it's a game that the people that have played it tell me is the greatest thing ever. Is on PlayStation Plus, and that is The Legend of Dragoon. Which I played a demo of, I believe, back in the day, but that's as much as I've played because it came out around about Final Fantasy IX, I think. So yeah, it's a turn-based PlayStation 1 RPG, Craigo. So not for you, but very much for Dave, especially now I have the PlayStation Portal.
Yes, that's definitely a portal. That is definitely a portal game.
Pengi, what about your number 2?
So my number 2 is so I put this here because it is on Plus, but Dave will bring this up with a pickup, and I am being tempted to buy something different instead. But I put Demon Souls on the list.
It is something I'd pay good money to watch a stream of.
Because you do have the Maiden in Black and a Demon Slayer in Astro Bot, so you do have those two that are representing, and obviously Demon Souls is a Sony IP, and we got that shiny remake. It's also another game that's getting a PS5 Pro. This is definitely getting a PS5 Pro patch. This is actually one of the 13 of the 50 that's been confirmed for launch. So,
right, day one, Pengi, get the stream on.
Yeah.
Demon Souls
is
funny.
How many times between the two of you have you bought this game? Because I feel like
once.
Pengi would have got bought it at least once or twice,
So
surely.
technically twice. Sorry, technically twice because I did actually buy it originally on the PS3 when I didn't have any idea what it was. I just thought it was a Lord of the Ringsy looking game, so I bought it. So
I was sad when
and
you realised it wasn't.
It sold so badly that like no one really knew what it was, and I bought it. I played it at uni. I played it for like 10 hours. Like I was just like, why is this so hard? Like I was saying to someone, I was like, this game is like fucking weird. I was like, because it looks like really interesting. Like it's obviously the art style is very us. And I was playing it. I was like, this game's kicking my dick. And obviously, at the time there was no Souls-like because it was the first one. So I was like, well, I don't really get this whole like all the enemies come.
First one, Kingsfield. Was
yeah, but like you know what I mean. Like no one played Kingsfield, maybe. But I was like, why are the enemies coming back to life? Like why can't I pause the game? But yeah.
You asked me of how many times I bought it. Technically, also twice. So I imported it on PS3 because at the time we weren't getting it in Europe. So if anything, but it did eventually come to Europe, and I can't remember who published it over here. Someone weird like 505 or something published it over here. So played it originally on PS3 briefly, and same as Dave, it was hard as all hell. So I gave up quite quickly, and then I did buy a launch of the PS5, and obviously my PS5 was famously broken. So I've never actually
played a favour there, Pengi, because you don't have to play it.
So I've never actually played the remake. So yeah, that's what's on the list. I've never played it, but I've also never played something else that we might talk about. So
there we go. It was published by Namco Bandai.
Okay.
In Europe and Atlas in North America.
Yeah. And Sony and PlayStation, and then didn't want to publish it in the West because they said, the West would find it too hard or something like that.
And that's why they turned down Dark Souls, which Namco Bandai got. So
yeah,
nice, Craigie.
So this is kind of two, I guess. I think it's one of the first bots you unlock as well. It's the Ratchet, and you get a Ratchet and then you get the female Ratchet, don't you?
Rivet.
Yeah. So I mean, I do have Rift Apart on my backlog list, and of the 3 that I have left on that, it's probably the only one which realistically I will probably actually do this year. So there's that, and then I did also download the PlayStation 4 Ratchet and Clank.
Hell yeah.
Because I started that. If you remember, I started it when I had my PlayStation 4. And I never finished it. I kind of started it and I thought it was good, and then maybe I got a bit bored of it or something. I don't know, but I was like, I'm gonna re-download that and maybe give that another go, because I feel like Rift Apart, I'd probably want to play on the TV because that's all very like sparkly and shit going on, isn't there? But I feel like that older one would be quite nice on the handheld. And I did actually.
It's a remake of the first Ratchet and Clank, and like a weird tie-in to the movie as well and stuff like that. It's not as fancy as you would say as like Rift Apart with all the like popping effects. And I think Rift Apart even like it is like the last one in like timeline, but because you've got Rivet, the new character, and you're playing like a lot as her and stuff like that, I think it's like also a good entry point and stuff as well. So
yeah, we did weirdly say that I wasn't expecting this. I haven't actually loaded up to see if it's going to work or not, but it did say that my old save is there somewhere. So I might, I don't know if it does work. I was like, because I was expecting it not to be a thing. In my head, I was starting it from the scratch. And I was like, oh, do I want us to start it from scratch, maybe? Or do I carry on the save? So I haven't really decided yet. Maybe I'll load it up and figure it out from there. But yeah.
Game does have Sylvester Stallone in it, Craig.
There you go.
So there's a reason to play it. So we're back onto me.
Yeah.
So really more of the same here, Pengi. But this is a bit of a Pengi because there's actually technically 3 games, but it's a series. Wild Arms. Never played any of the Wild Arms games. Much like Legend of the Green Trigger.
There's 3 of them in there?
There's 3 that I can play. There's 5.
Okay.
Because they actually
the 3 you can play?
So you can play 1, 2, and 3 on PS Plus. But 1 got a remake later down the line that hasn't come out yet, which is better because I think 1 is sprite based, whereas the 1 remake is 3D models. It's a turn-based RPG, Craigo, published by Sony. and I've never played it. Because in fact, I never heard of it until I can't remember. Maybe it's the Completionist that did it. It was one of those type of YouTube videos, but I'd never heard of it. It's a turn-based RPG, Craigo, but it's got like a Western setting. So it's all like cowboys and shit, but it's a turn-based JRPG. It's really, the first one's really well reviewed, and obviously it's on PS Plus. There's trophies and whatever, and like we keep saying, perfect for the PlayStation Portal that we all have. I'm a good lover. Racing games and JRPGs are my shit nowadays. So I'm kind of like, let's see. But yeah, all 3 games are on Plus, so I wanna give that a go. And I think the characters are.
But you wouldn't. I don't think you would. Would you have trophies for Wild Arms 3?
I can't remember.
You would for 1 and 2 because I think they're on the PS5.
Yeah, I think 3 has got trophies, but it's not. It's the worst one, I think. I will check, but I think they've all got trophies. But yeah. Wild Arms.
You play as Rudy Roughborough.
Have you played any of the games, Pengi?
I've played a bit of the first one on Vita.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Right. Game number 3, Chris Pengi.
So number 3 is a bit of I guess guest characters in Astro, but it is a bit of a celebration for gaming and stuff like that. And you get a bunch of Persona characters. And I have played 5. You have Joker. I have played 4, which you have Teddy. But I have not played 3. And I own Persona 3 Reload, the remake. So I'm saying Persona 3 Reload because I still need to play that.
Nice.
I guess the only problem with this game is Metaphor ReFantasio is really soon, and that looks very, very good. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's supposed to be quite good, the port, isn't it? I did play. I played a couple hours on Xbox because obviously Xbox gets all the DLC. But again, PlayStation Portal. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's one.
Will we ever get Craig to play a Persona game?
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. There's a 25-hour video of the first Wild Arms on YouTube that you could watch. That is 25 hours. You could just sit there and watch it 25 hours. Then.
It's quite short though for JRPGs. So that's good.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah. But Metaphor Fantasio could be a great Portal game as well. That's the thing.
Nice. Cricket.
So I'll go for another one which is on the backlog list, although I don't think I'm going to get to this year. And it does have its own PlayStation level in the game. It's a very good PlayStation level as well. The Horizon 2, basically, because I always get the bloody subtitle.
Forbidden West.
Yeah, so I did play the first one. I did like the first one and the DLC as well. So I should probably jump on this eventually, right? But especially as we're getting that Lego game, and I thought I should probably play the second one before the Lego game comes out, because I'm sure it's going to ruin it if not. Although I was weirdly thinking when I was playing that Astrobot level of Horizon, I was like, I feel like this level is going to be better than the Lego game.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird choice. But they fucking love Horizon, don't they? So
yeah, I knew. I was like, when I got to the because you had some strange choices before that, with some nice, cool, older ones. Was it Loco Moco or whatever it is,
yeah,
an Ape Escape?
Yeah.
And I got to the last word, and I was like, this is going to be Horizon, isn't it? Because, like you say, they are obsessed with Horizon, aren't they? So.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I remember when they had the leaked sales figures, Horizon, the first one, Forbidden West, was the second best-selling PlayStation game ever, and it was a ridiculous amount, something like 34 million or something. It's okay, that's why they're pumping out the Horizon content.
Well, I mean, the game did so well that the director or whatever, the lead of the studio, is now the head of PlayStation. So it was always going to happen, wasn't it? So justice for Killzone, Pengi. Nice. Obviously, it's leaving Plus soon, Craigie, which is still a wild thing. If they're doing that.
Yeah, although it leaves in 3 days. So.
Yeah, probably a little bit too late. But it's always on sale. There's a complete edition and physical as well.
There is a complete condition physical, which is always nearly it goes I think you can only get it through PlayStation Direct, and it goes on sale for an hour, and then it suddenly sells out because all the content is on the disc, and you know what?
It's quite a sexy edition, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
and you also know what the
box or
physical
whatever.
media sickos are like. They want that content on the disc.
They love discs.
They certainly do.
Right. So one of all good fun and games, you got to go sit up and change the disc, though. You got to say, such an effort.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know what discs are in either of my consoles right now. I don't have a fucking clue.
Yeah, so I've accumulated like all of my backlog on PlayStation 5 right now is on disc, and I'm like, how have I let this happen? There we go. Nice, Krieger. Well, I'm gonna be a similar vein. Ape Escape 2. Got the platinum for Ape Escape last year. Ape Escape 1. Obviously, there's an Ape Escape level in Astro, and Ape Escape 2 is on Plus. There's a lot of random PSP Ape Escapes as well. I think one's actually a game, and 2 of them are like puzzle games or party games, whatever. But yeah, Ape Escape 2.
There's a lot on that premium service.
I really
it's like
really
Ape
enjoyed the first
Academy.
one.
Is that part of it?
Yeah,
as well?
that's like a party. It's like a Mario Party spin-off, the Ape Academy games.
Okay.
But yeah, I really want to get to 2 because I've played 1 before, and obviously then I got the platinum last year, and I really really enjoyed it. And I've seen a lot of footage of 2, which is a PS2 game, and obviously it's just like it's just a much better looking game, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of like, oh, you know what? I know it's on Plus. It's not that easy a platinum, I don't think, but it's one of those where like I'd love to get to that because I really have enjoyed this sort of weird Ape Escape resurgence. But yes, Pengi.
It's a shame that it's a shame that the studio's like gone. They don't really do stuff like that now, because like playing this and seeing all those like old kind of like they do like silly games, but you do kind of miss that sort of thing, don't you?
I really miss
Not everything needs to be the serious, slow walking through a gap.
It's long been so since we started this podcast, which is actually 9 years ago. I think, or it's 8 years ago. It's long been my complaint of the third-person daddy issues walking slowly simulator games that Sony used to make. They just make crap decisions now, don't they? So yeah, I do wish they'd go back to the Gravity Rushes, the Ape Escapes, the Medievals, like these type of games. Just every now and then, just put one out and just be like, yeah, I guess that's what Astro Boy is, right? But yeah. Get those apes. Pengi.
So Craig's kind of actually mentioned it. So that Horizon level was really good, and I think you may be right. That will be better than a Lego Horizon, but Lego Horizon is the next one. I was going to buy it anyway. It's a Sony first party game. It's a Horizon and stuff like that. But I am now more excited for it, playing the Horizon level and like, oh yeah, this is what Horizon is in a more kid-friendly game, or will the Lego? I do think did they have the idea of Lego Horizon from Astro? I was like, oh, actually that would be a great idea. Let's make a kids Horizon game. So yeah, I'm more excited for that now based off of that playing Astrobot.
Yeah, still hasn't got a date.
No, the lead was November 14th or November 16th or something.
Yeah, it's a funny one because I quite like.
It's got to be in that rumored state of play that Jeff Grubb was talking about coming up, and TGS is literally 10 days away, which Sony are at. I'm guessing the PlayStation 5 Pro will be at TGS and people will go hands on it. I'm guessing that's also why we got that announced now. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows, Pengi? Yeah, I think Lego Horizon looks fun. I don't know. I don't know what I'd get it on though. It's because obviously now I've got the Portal. The argument for the Switch would obviously be the handheldness of it, right? But now because I've got the Portal, maybe I'll just get it for the trophies or whatever, right? But we'll see.
And it'll look better as well, won't it?
Yeah, that don't really bother me too much. Correct.
It's also another game that's got a PS5 Pro patch.
For fuck's sake. You might as well just pre-order one, Chris. I don't know why you're trying to be all coy,
the list is
it.
ready. You've got the number of games you want.
Yeah, he's already booked the 26th of September off, so he can get up at 2 a.m. to pre-order it. Craigo.
I'm gonna go for one I think it's just there are the bots in it. I actually unlocked the bots for this in a weird order. and because I didn't know anything about the game, I was like, I got the mushroom head bot first, and I was like, what the fuck is this from? I nearly put a message in the chat. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I got obviously the Joel and Ellie, and I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. These are the zombies that aren't zombies, aren't they?
Clickers.
Yeah, they're not zombies. So yeah, I do want to try The Last of Us. I will probably just get The Last of Us Part 1 because that would probably make the most sense at this point for me, I'd imagine. And I do,
Yeah.
I have the Sky entertainment service at the moment, and obviously that has the Last of Us TV show on it, and I'm always like, oh, I kind of want to watch that because obviously it's meant to be good, but I'm almost like, oh, I don't want to spoil the game. That'd be a bit rubbish.
It's also shot for shot the same as the first game.
Exactly.
Apart from
the episode with the dude from Parks and Recs.
Yeah. Bill and Frank.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to go back and play that for a while. Obviously, time is always the thing. But yeah, seeing the bots and that were like a reminder of God, I should really get that before my Sky subscription ends.
How much is The Last of Us Part 1? £45 at the moment. I feel like the sequel is much cheaper. I don't know why.
There is suddenly, it's like 34 quid at the moment, the sequel.
Yeah, because they put them, because that came out this year, didn't it? The port for that for PS5.
And Dave, you're gonna hate this. It's something like the second best-selling single-player game of the year. Has that been Last of Us Part?
Yeah, but they did a TV show, and none of you have any taste, so it's not surprising. Is it?
And it's when it was at the half point of the year, one of only 2 new games this year that were in the top 10 selling games.
We calling that a new game?
Well, yeah, new releases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But,
so like last year's COD was still in the top 10 and stuff. Yeah, it's one of the only. Yeah, so it's weird because I've never seen I don't think I've ever seen anyone on my PlayStation friends list actually play it. Yeah, it's
only I think only you're the only one I've seen play Last of Us Part 2 on PS5.
No, I haven't played I haven't even played the remaster. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I'm sure that popped up on there. Maybe it was just the PS4 version. It was getting confused.
Do you know what, Dave?
What?
It's getting a PS5 throwback.
It's on the list. How many games did we need, Pengi? We must have mentioned 3 already.
Yeah.
It's got to be nearly there.
My big problem with The Last of Us is I want Craig to play it because I want his opinion, but I know he's gonna love it, and that's what upsets me because it's such a it's that type of game. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it because I just think it's so over. Like people talk about it like it's fucking, I don't know, something like it's Mario Kart. Like it's not that good. Like it's all right. It's just a cutscene simulator into a weird stealth Uncharted game.
I'm gonna order this online at some point. I'm gonna mention it in the chat, and Dave's just gonna be waiting outside my house for the postman. I'm gonna open the door, and Dave's just there snapping my copy of Last of Us. Like, sorry. I picked this up. It was broken.
We'll make you stream it, but like I'll be on chat with you and just be like, yeah, shit, they're in it, Craig. Shit, what a waste of time this is.
It'd be interesting if you do watch the show first and stuff like that, and then play the game or something, and then see the subtle changes.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think play the game, get the game next time you've got a bit of free time. It's not that long, and then watch the show afterwards and be like, oh, Pedro Pascal, is he better than what's his face that's in everything, Troy Baker?
You know, he is pretty good, Pedro Pascal.
And then you can play the second one to see why everyone was so annoyed, Craig.
I can live through all that again. Yeah,
exactly. Nice. Well, my second to last game is a game I believe is on Chris Pengeli's backlog list for the year. I don't know if he's got to it yet or not. And there's a game that I've started and I haven't finished. I love the first game, and it's on PlayStation Plus, and that is Gravity Rush 2.
Mm-hmm. I was going to put that on my list again, but I thought it was already on my backlog list. So, yeah. Yeah,
it's another one of the Japan studio shenanigan things that we've talked about, but yeah, it's just one of those where you're like, I've been meaning to get to it for a long time. When I did the remaster version a couple of years ago, I really enjoyed it. It's a really interesting game series. I would recommend it as well to Craig because I think it's a very unique type of game that isn't too long. But yeah, Gravity Rush 2. The characters are really cool. Been meaning to do it for a while.
Yeah, the second one is quite a bit longer from what I'm saying, and like I was gonna like obviously I put it on my backlog, generally gonna play it like the and then there's all those rumors where there's like, oh, it's gonna get a remaster or remake, and it's gonna come to PC. They're doing the film and stuff like that, and everything. And like we've seen stuff with the film, which is like looks nothing like Gravity Rush. It's like what happened to that game and thing.
It's also one of the games we talked about a lot when we first started the podcast. When this was Pod of War and it was just PlayStation. Remember, we talked about Gravity Rush quite a lot because obviously we were like massive Vita fans. So yeah, you don't need a Vita now, Craigo.
No,
perhaps
I do own.
Perhaps you never needed it. Oh,
I do own Gravity Rush and Gravity Days on Vita.
nice.
Yeah.
You'll worry about you, Pengi. So, Pengi, what's your last game?
The last one is The Last Guardian.
Nice. It's weird to me that you haven't played this. Yeah, really strange to me that you haven't played this.
This is like Shenmue 3, isn't it? This is like your weird.
Yeah, this is.
I just assume you played this.
Nope, I played some of it. I haven't even unlocked a trophy in it. That shows you how little I have actually played the game.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure we did a whole episode where you talked about buying it back in the day.
Yeah, I got the collector's edition. I got my Trico statue, like here with the little, the boy.
Is it on the list, or are you going to play it on PS5?
Yeah, it's not on the list, I think. And weirdly, it is a game where if you don't update it, it runs better or something on the PS5 because it has frame rate.
It's got unlocked frame rate. But again, like there is talk of the FPS boost, isn't there, on PS5? So maybe that's one of those.
Yeah,
games.
maybe they do that. Yeah, because it had an unlocked frame rate and everyone kicked off. They locked it to 30 frames with the patch. But if you but the power of the PS5 will take it to 60 frames. But yeah, weirdly, yeah, I've played very little of it, and Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are both in my top 100 games of all time. Shadow of the Colossus is very high, and obviously getting the characters of those three games in Astrobot. It's like, yeah, I really need to play that one, the last of like the trilogy.
I love the description when you get the big fucking whatever it is monster thing as well. It's like it does what you want sometimes.
Yeah. So
it's definitely one that I think you should play.
Yeah. And it does really make me also like, whoa, what? Because obviously Gen Design is the new studio. It's like, whatever happened to that monkey King Kong clone game they were making? Like, I was like, where's that? Where is it?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Craigo, what's your last game?
I'm just gonna say a franchise because I don't know what games were in this franchise. I know that little about it, but it's one of my favourite levels in Astrobot, and that's the Uncharted level.
Have you not played any of them?
No, God no.
Fuck, man.
So yeah, I they look like the biggest Craig games ever. So
I couldn't be more jealous that you could play all 5 of those games without any previous knowledge. That's wild.
Yeah, I know nothing about it as well because in that level, obviously you save all the characters, and I'm saving all these characters, and I was like, I have no fucking idea what's going on now. I'm like, this is great. This is a fucking amazing level. I'm having a great time, and I have no idea who any of these people are. So, yeah, I just say Uncharted because I should really, and then I could watch the Uncharted movie as well, right?
I've got that on DVD if you want it, Cricket.
Yeah, I think it might be on Amazon. It might be. I've been tempted to watch it a few nights. I'm like, I'm sure it's probably not.
It's the flip. It's nothing like the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought that. This is probably like the very unserious version as opposed to Last of Us.
It's actually more serious than Uncharted the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Uncharted the game isn't that serious until it's like half serious. It's more like Uncharted the game is like a less serious version of the rebooted Tomb Raider games. It's more like Indiana Jones than it's like that Tomb Raider game.
Until like the 4th one?
Until PlayStation started only making games like that. But even that has some unserious moments.
What you want to see until Neil Druckmann became director.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, the remaster, I believe it must be on Plus. I know the newer ones are on Plus. Is a high, like, in fact, don't bother buying Last of Us. Play those 3 games instead, because they're just amazing games. Amazing games. I mean, again, when we go back to the early editions of the podcast when it was just PlayStation, like, we talked heavily about it, all 3 of those games. I think we like 2 and 3. I think me and Chris both had very high in our all-time PlayStation games back then, and I think they're quite high still in our lists.
2, yeah.
I really like 3, but again, they're both really good. And obviously, the first one is so much better in that remaster than it was on PS3. But yeah, it's you are right. It's the most Craig-ass series in the world. Like, it is literally just a linear Tomb Raider game, if you want to put it in that way. Like, it's chapter by chapter. It's like a third-person shooter / puzzly game. Very likable characters. Like, it's right up your street, to be honest. So there we go. Craig needs to get on it. So my last one, I was quite torn here because there was quite a few games. I was like, is it a game? Do I say a game I'll never play? Do I say a game that I might play? So I've just kind of gone with a game that I know Craig's played recently, and I've been meaning to play, and that's Shadow of the Colossus. Because I hated the PS2 version because the controls were terrible, and it ran at 3 frames per second. And I was like, yeah, there's a PS4 port that runs really well, so I really should get on it.
I'm using the Shadow of the Colossus skin for my Astrobot.
Hell yeah!
I did for a bit, yeah.
It's one of the only character skins of a game I've actually played. So I was like, so when I wear them by default, I guess.
God, I love it. Right, well, that's our 15 games. Some really good games. Astrobot has inspired us all. So we're going to talk about Astrobot now, Craig.
Yeah, and weirdly, like things like Mr. Mosquito and stuff like now it's coming to Plus. So there is more obscure gameplay. Like I said, Maestro, for instance, like that's a really obscure game. Like they're having like Casino and Plus. It's like, do I want to put on this like that list because I got like no way to play it, sort of thing. But yeah, some of those really more obscure games I like wouldn't mind a way to play, like Devil Dice. Who wouldn't want to play Devil Dice?
Exactly. It's just a lot. It's a lot to choose from. There's always too many games. So, Craigo, tell us what you've been buying, playing, etc. in the last week.
So, all I've played, I think, is just Astrobot. So that makes this nice and easy, right? I am now. So I've done the 5 worlds. I've beaten the big bad. And I have gone through the first 5 worlds, and I've got everything basically. I've got all the bots and the puzzle pieces, and unlocked all the secret doors. So I've done that, and I've started the Lost Galaxy levels. I think I just did the first 2 literally before we started recording, and they both seem very good so far. So I'm working my way through that. The game's great, and it's just fantastic. I don't know how much more great shit we can say about it. It's phenomenal. The last mission's great. I love the credit shenanigans. That was fantastic. It makes you happy just seeing all these little kind of bots that are obviously celebrations of the games. And even before, actually, I was just running around hitting all my bots, seeing what their little animations were when they're in your crash site bit, because that's just fun, isn't it? When you got Lara Croft running around getting chased by the dinosaur and all that, it's just great shit, isn't it? So yeah, I just very much enjoying that. And I do, as I said before, like the amount of these bots I've unlocked, I have no fucking idea what any of them are. So I've already seen that people have done videos where they basically go through all of them and say, this bot is this character, and they were in this game, which was back in this day or whatever. So I am kind of looking forward to, after I finish it, maybe cracking on one of those videos on YouTube and learning a bit more about some of these characters. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to playing more, but I'm also at the point where I'm like, obviously you two have gone on about this last level being hard as dick. So I'm also a little bit like, oh god, I don't want to put myself through this, because even some of the challenge levels were had me swearing and shouting, and the idea of more pain is just, oh god.
Well, for me,
we might get to next week, and I might be like, I fucking hate this game. It's shit. It's the worst game I've ever played in my life. When I've failed 600 times on this last level or whatever.
For me, it's the hope that Chris has managed to do it. Because I've watched Chris do some things, and it's not like, I remember a particular trophy on Severed on the Vita that completely defeated Chris Pengi. But I managed to do it. So if Chris can do it, it's kind of what when I fall, I'm like, don't give up. Chris Pengi has done this.
Oh yeah, I gave up once. I got to like a boss on Severed, and I just, no matter how quickly I swiped that screen, I could never do it.
Took me about 2 hours to do that one battle on Severed, and it's one of my favourite platinums, one of my favourite games. But
I always find though, if I'm like getting annoyed, if I'm doing like something like this and I can't do it, just watching someone else do it on a video, like just seeing that it's possible and before my eyes helps me so much. It's got to be a mental thing because they'll be doing exactly what I'm doing. I find that helps so much. So yeah,
it kind of helped me when I did that, and I saw all the comments, and I'd see that everyone else is very frustrated. It was like, okay, it's just not me.
Yes, like, it is. It's that. It is exactly that. Pengi.
Everyone else is also hating this level and want to chuck their controllers away, and like Ian, like I said, I've seen comments like, "Oh, I'm going back to Demon Souls. That's easier," and stuff like
that. Pain shared, it's better, right?
Oh yeah. Nice. Have you got any Astrobot comments then, Craig, Pengi, before we move on to what me and you have been playing, other than Craig's just Astrobot week?
It's like one of the only things I've really, again, pretty much all I've played this week is, and I finished it. So I finished the story, finished the Lost Galaxy, and then got all the bots, got all the puzzles, so finished the final level, got the platinum. It is great shit. The hard level, the challenge levels too, I get the challenge levels are supposed to be challenging, but do knock it a little bit. I still think it's the best game we've had this year. So far. I'm not sure if what else coming this year that most probably will top it. Being best game this year. But it's very, very good. I got it physical, and I was like, well, I'm not planning to like trade in or anything selling, because we know there's like free DLC, and the previous free DLC for Astro's Playroom was, pretty good. And there's like bots and stuff or companies in the credits that aren't used, so hopefully, it's like some new bots come over, and some DLC will be, pretty cool.
There's so much potential that they could add on to this, isn't there? They could do whole worlds of more shit. Like, God, they've got to surely do like a Square world at some point. Surely, and just have the Square characters, because that'd be awesome as well, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, Square's like totally missing in this, and like a big part of PlayStation history. And there's the whole stuff like Square want to go multi-format and stuff like that. Yet then, like, their day one with like the PS5 Pro, the hands-on, the only third party there was a Square Enix game in like Rebirth. It's just they're such a baffling company, Square. Much as I love their games and stuff like that, I'm always very confused by them.
Nice. Well, what else have you bought and played, Pengi?
And the other game I played because I finished Astrobot, so I went back to some Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 yesterday, and I did what would be like the first level after the prologue, or like the second level, what you really call it. Play some of that. It's great. Just great. It's like really like back to basics gaming, like really linear. It's just follow the path and stuff like that. I was talking to a chap in work, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't like it because, I like my games to be like open world and stuff like that." And it's like, but it's just like, oh, you got like these 200 Tyranids on screen, and you just got your chainsaw and just ripping them apart, and blood splatters on the screen. It's such a simple game, but it does it so well. And weirdly, I played a little bit of the PvP, and that seemed like pretty good as well. And weirdly, the trophies I looked at the trophies. Seemed to be pretty rare on the PvP mode, so I might go for them soon to obviously try to keep me in the true trophies individual
Let's
thing.
not bring that up, Pengi. That's a sour note, isn't it? Right.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about our team failure that we had there when we
Right.
crashed and burned.
Yeah.
Because of some people.
Yeah, I don't know who those people would be. Yeah, so that's all I've really played. Actually, not. I played a bit of Destiny 2 for reasons. And that reason was a pickup, Dave.
And what have you bought, Pengi?
So last week, as you may have, if you've watched last week, you may remember, I bought a expensive PSP game, Chosen the Sky. And I was not happy with the condition of it, really, for the price it was and stuff like that. So I took it back. And the woman in CX was like, "Oh, what are you going to do with your credit now? I got some nice GameCube games here, some nice expensive 3DS games. You like rare video games. This is what I got." I was like, maybe put it towards like a God of War DualSense or like the Red DualSense. I've got a lot of them at the moment. And she's like, "Give me 1 second." Goes away, comes back. Just had this trade in with a bunch of other stuff. A brand new, sealed, hadn't even been opened, DualSense Edge. And I was like, how much is that? And obviously I have my credit note and stuff. So I've got a DualSense Edge now.
You know what's funny, Pengi? Literally, like the night before this, me and Dave were talking. He was like, "You buy an Edge soon," and literally, then you would put in the chat, "I bought an Edge." It's incredible, Pengi, how well we know you. It's incredible.
Literally, literally, we were walking to somewhere. We were talking about money that you waste, and I was like, "Well, he's bought this fucking PSP game." I was like, "You'll buy an Edge soon." He's all PlayStation at the minute. Just you wait. And here, lo and behold, like predicting the weather, Chris Pengelly.
Yeah, so I didn't like plan to even buy it then or there. It's just like, it just happened to be traded in.
That's Chris Pengelly. So how is the Edge, Pengi, in comparison to the DualSense?
So Destiny 2. I tried Destiny 2. For the reasons being, so the Edge has got grips on the like the rubbery grips and stuff like the Xbox One's controller's got. So that's pretty good. It's a bit heftier. It's like 50 grams heavier, so you can feel it's like a bit thing. I don't sort of thing, but it's got the triggers like the Elite controller where you can adjust them from normal. If you've got normal, it does all the haptic feedback. So if you're playing Astro, you can feel the boost and stuff like that. And then you can move it the medium or high, and then if it's high, it's literally got no travel. So that's why I tried Destiny 2 as in Crucible, and like trying the triggers and putting it on the high where you've got like that no travel and stuff like that. I did for like a couple of games, and one of the games, the first game, I went the whole high, absolutely destroyed the competition. But out of the 35 kills on the team that you need to think, I think I had 20 of the 35 kills, and I think I only had like 3 deaths. It was great. That was amazing.
Nice.
Destiny 2, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for one round, and no, I wasn't going to say good the next 2 rounds. Well, I was actually like carrying the team. It's just we lost the next 2 games. Yeah, it's like,
what you're saying is you carried the team to defeat, Pengles. Much like our true achievements journey.
Yeah. It was like, we've lost 9 to 35, and it's like, I've got 8 of those 9 kills. And it's like, okay, what were the other 2 doing? And it's like, dying, I guess, is what they were doing. It's like, yeah. I haven't really tried the back paddles, because I've played some Destiny 2. It's like, oh cool, I'm gonna map the R3 button for it. It's like, oh yeah, that's not how you melee in Destiny 2. So I did say in the chat, like, I could see that being really handy for COD. It's like, you don't need to press R3 in to like do the knife attack. You just put it to one of your bumpers. But then talking to the chap in the work about the Pro and the Edge, and that, it's like, why don't you do the reload? Like the square button to one of the bumpers, like that could actually make sense for the thing. But yeah, it's definitely the triggers. is the main thing. Like previously playing with the Elite on the Xbox, like I never really used the paddle with them. It's like the triggers and being slightly like heavier and stuff like that was the main thing. I don't know if you still got your Elite, have you, Craig?
I think I do. I should really. Oh, I might have thrown it out actually because it was literally falling to pieces. I haven't used it in ages, and like the backs on the rubbery bits have completely come off on it because it is old as dicks now. Mine.
Yeah.
No, I think I was similar. I never liked the back buttons when I had mine. I never got on with that, but I did. I always had the triggers set to like being like hairline, so you barely have to touch them.
Yeah, so like playing Space Marine 2, so I played like the mission of the campaign. I played them on like the full like travel, so you got like this gun feels different to this gun and stuff like that. But when I played the PvP, I was like, right, I'm gonna put these all full triggers and stuff like that, and same like Destiny. But yeah, I said feels like weird, like it's got better build quality, even though it's like really not that much different. Like you get your case, and you got a weird clip thing as well for your braided charging cable to like. So latency's lower and stuff like that, and it even says in like the manual for like it mentions like fighting games and stuff like that, because obviously fighting game nerds like their controllers wired and stuff for the latency, and it's like it's like a little slot where you can put your modular thing if you buy the modular thing. I've tried the other like thumbsticks. I don't like the weird circular smooth ones, the ones that are like the default PlayStation ones. I find better, and it's got nubs or triggers. I do think the nubs are better than the triggers, but then like a racing game like my my Gran Turismo, like that's coming like all manual with like the paddles. It actually be like a paddle, like gears in the car sort of thing. But yeah, but decent so far of how much I've used of the Edge. And that's it.
Lovely. So for me, I've also played Astrobot. It's the only PlayStation game I've really played this week. I've got the final level to do, so hopefully I've done that tonight and I won't have snapped my controller in half.
Have you done all the miscellaneous trophies?
I literally just have to do that final mission. I gave it about 30 goes earlier and wanted to fucking murder everyone. So we'll come back in Zen and try again.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Sleep tonight, but hear you're screaming from my house, Dave.
And what I can't also wait is like he goes, Chloe, I've had like 50 goes of this. You have a go, and then she does it first.
She had 30 goes earlier, and she did. Even worse. Platformers are not that girl's strength. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing on PlayStation. I have got 2 pickups on PlayStation, Pengi. As you know, I bought a new controller, a beautiful volcanic red controller, Craig. And
I like the sounds of that volcanic.
It's really nice. It's got like a glossy red on top and then a matte red on bottom, and it's sexy.
That was the controller I like mentioned. I was like, oh, the God of War one on the volcanic red one, and then literally you posted in the chat like I just got this volcanic red controller. It's like, oh, how weird! That's the color I was talking about.
Well, it's actually the second time this has happened, Chris, because the thing I got with my controller, Craig, because you got a game, I think it was £20 for a game, and I was like, okay, well, that was part of the deal, or it was the reason it was so cheap. So I was like, I think the choices of games were God of War Ragnarok, which I finished, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth that I own, and then there was a random one that I was like, I don't want. So really, the only choice I had left was Elden Ring. So I have got a PS5 copy of Elden Ring now, which is still on my backlog list. I really should play it. So maybe, who knows? But that's my 2 PlayStation pickups. And Pengels actually said to me, not 2 hours ago, well, I think maybe yesterday, you were like, oh, I quite fancy buying Elden Ring. And I was like, well, I've got a copy here.
So and that's when I was saying earlier.
Souls games is a fucking... write a book about that shit.
Oh,
that's what I was saying earlier about Demon Souls. Like, oh, there's another one. Elden Ring's on offer on PSN at the moment.
Yeah, it's fucking bad for both of you from doing it. I need to something. I don't know.
I still got my Concord refund. Obviously, sat in my PSN wallet. So I'm like, ooh, do I pick up Elden Ring?
Imagine that. That's a good idea. I think you should do it.
Stop! Fucking stop!
So I'm gonna like tie myself to a chair and force myself to finish it just to say that I have. Just cry off. That's when you'll see me crying, Craig. Maybe once I beat Astrobot, I'll be like, this Elden Ring's a piece of piss compared to this.
Chloe's gonna ring me. She's like, I'm really concerned about Dave. He's just sat there crying, playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, hasn't eaten for days.
Yeah, but
this is
also...
what Chloe. We've just got to let him do it. We've got to support.
But this is also what I was thinking. Demon Souls, because it's on Plus, so don't actually lose anything.
Just
Stop.
oh, I love it. I love it. But that's right. So I have actually been playing the Switch. So we'll talk about the Switch. It's the Grand Festival for Splatfest this weekend. So I've played about 3 hours of that.
What is grand about it?
It's like it's like a big one. It's the last one, I think. So
what's the choice?
It's past, present, and future. It's a whole different thing. So if you load up Splatfest, looks like Glastonbury. There's those are like festival, it's a big old festival arena and stuff. There's different stages and.
Has it got all like the bands? Because I've seen they're doing new amiibos for all of them.
Yeah, it's got all the old characters from all the games. So basically, it's
so past is, I guess, is Callie and Marie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like I think it's basically like it's what they've done in all the Splatoons, Craig. At the very end of the Splatfest for the end of the games, it basically decides the direction of the story for the next game. So I think the first game, one of the characters is like you pick between them, so one of them goes like missing, and then the whole story of Splatoon 2, which has a single player campaign as well, not just talk about the multiplayer, is to find that character. And they did the same with 2 to 3, and they're going to do the same for 3 to 4. So it's quite an interesting game. Splatoon's one of those games that people that like it really like it, and I really like it. It's really good. So I've played a lot of that. Obviously played some Mario Kart, and then the other game I've played, Craig, is a game I actually have got a review code for. I've only played one level so far because of Astrobot. It's a game that came out a couple of days ago that is on Steam, it is on Xbox, and it is on Switch. It's an indie game that I feel like I'm the only person in the world ever talks about, and I cannot believe that I'm still the only person talking about it, because it's got 2 reviews on OpenCritic, this sequel. It's got both reviews a 9 out of 10 from Nintendo Life and God is Geek, and that is Grapple Dogs Cosmic Canines. Now, if you do recall, I talk quite highly of Grapple Dogs on the regular. The sequel is Grapple Dogs, but even better.
I love that it's got a sequel. That makes me happy.
And do you know what I tell you every time, Dave?
What's that, mate?
If they put it on PlayStation, I will play it.
I tell you, it's really because it's Super Rare Games that publishes it. It's really strange to me that it isn't on PlayStation, but it isn't. It's $11.99 right now. So this is the spiel #ad. It's $11.99 right now on Xbox because it's got 30% off, and it's $12.99 on Switch. I reviewed it, and I will review it on Switch. I have a Switch code given to me from the developer, but yeah, it's really good, Craig. It's a puzzle 2D platformer that looks like a GBA game. One of the characters has a grapple hook, so it's kind of like Bionic Commando, and one of the other characters has a gun, and that's why it's Grapple Dogs, because there's 2 this time. It's really, really good. The first game is one of my favorite indie games of all time ever, and the sequel looks to be better than it so far. So I'm really looking forward to getting to that once I finished Astrobot. It's going to be my in-bed Switch game, I think. But yeah, really recommend it. I would get it on Xbox at some point.
That £12 price point for indie games is like the chef's kiss, isn't it? That is like the perfect level, I feel, because it's like Thank Goodness You're Here was like that price, and I didn't even have to think about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying that. Like, it's not that much.
Yeah.
I look at Stray earlier and see 25 quid, and I'm like, whoa, fuck it now.
But Stray is only like, it's like 3 hours, so it's like the same length as Thank Goodness You're Here.
Exactly. Whereas if that was $11.99, like Grapple Dog or whatever, you'd be like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, just buy that digitally. Happy days. Wouldn't think twice about it. So yeah, basically, what we're saying is going forward, uniform price for indie games, £12 sorted.
Yeah, and I would recommend it to you guys. I think the Xbox version's really achievement heavy. Like, it gives you quite good achievements, but yeah, it's a really great game. But yeah, that's all we played. So I think it's time to end the episode. Thank you if you got this far. Put in the comment Pengals for Souls games if you got this far.
Yeah, or another suggestion to spend my Concord refund on instead of Elden Ring, I guess.
I think you should spend it on PS5 Pro.
How am I doing that?
Buy it on
Is on my PSN.
PlayStation Digital, PlayStation Direct.
I don't think that's how it works. I don't
Mhm.
think it works like Xbox. I don't think I can use my 50
Are
quid.
you telling me that PlayStation is backwards?
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.